Welcome to Inside Politics, our weekly podcast on 2 or 3 or 4 things you need to know about San Antonio politics. I'm Greg Jefferson, politics editor of the San Antonio Express News, and I'm joined today by City Hall reporter Megan Rodriguez.
Hello.
And our special guest, Kevin Wolff, former city councilman, this is going to be a long list, Bexar County commissioner, former Metropolitan Planning Organization board member, former VIA trustee. So I guess... my first question my first question has to be, why can't you hold down a job?
I know. They keep kicking me out of these things.
What do you do? It's like, my God, is it rudeness? Do you not do your homework?
Problem is I do too much homework, then I get disruptive, and then they're like, please make this guy go away.
Okay, so you remain a man about town. You seem to be in all places. But what actually do you do for a living right now?
Well, 2 things. One, I actually am an owner in a insurance company. Medical benefits. We do group insurance for companies, so not individual, but you guys probably have a group plan that you sign up with here. Well, somebody does that for you, and it's my type of company that does that. And then the other piece, I own with a partner a consulting company. We do small business mergers and acquisitions. We do corporate change management, those types of things, organizational design development. So those are the 2 things that I'm doing for a living now. Yeah,
a lot of local work, or
a lot of local work, and it's great, especially in a city like San Antonio, which is small business. And we're a very small firm. It's just 3 or 4 of us, and it's. Like I say, when I say small business M&A, that people are like, "What is that?" Mergers and acquisitions. That's when other companies either buy other companies or they merge together. Those types of things, and they're very complicated.
Right. I would imagine these are a lot of family businesses.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I did that.
It's like kids are kind of bored and they don't want to do what mom and dad do.
Before I lost my mind and ran for office, I did that in the corporate world. I was part of the M&A team for Citibank and lived and worked in Manhattan. So have that background. My business partner is an attorney, and when you're doing mergers and acquisitions, there's 3 basic parts. There's the legal piece. There's what I call the accounting or the financial piece, and then there's the operational piece. And so we help businesses go through that particular process. And then after post-close, after they've actually done the deal, then we help them integrate their different systems, organize their companies, those types of things.
Any acquisitions you can talk about locally or no?
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about one.
How about one signal one? Like one just to illustrate the point.
Okay. There's a local company called Clark Construction. They do primarily, we'll just call it street maintenance. And a couple years ago, they purchased a similar size company in Victoria. And so we did some of the initial M&A work, and then for a year after, our firm did the actual merger of those 2 companies. Both family-owned companies, both long-time family-owned companies, and it's different, especially when you're dealing with family. I grew up in a family-owned company, so I know how that feels. And then, as you heard me say earlier, I worked in the corporate world for 20 some odd years before I lost my mind. And I know how it works in more publicly, large private companies.
So when I start a family business podcast, I'm definitely I'm not doing that.
I'll give you one more example of a recent client. They had started a business not too long ago, back I want to say like 2017 or so, and they were very fortunate, grew very fast. The problem is that when you grow fast, you have a tendency to forget about what we call your foundation, or the infrastructure your company's built on. And this owner was struggling, asked us to come in. I go in and I said, well, let me just shadow you for a couple days. And so I did. And then 2 days later, I said, the good news is I know exactly what's wrong, and I know how to fix it. I said, the bad news is you're going to hate it. And to give an example, this is a company that had grown, I'll use number of employees, 300 employees. When you start out a company, when you're making a widget, when you're selling a product, something like that, you start small. And I've got my bookkeeper, and I've got somebody to answer the phone, and those types of things. Well, then you grow if you're successful, and you forget about those foundational pieces.
Yeah.
And while you're growing on the front end, because that's where you're focused, you're putting more and more pressure internally. So this particular company, 300 employees, I told them, I said, you are spending 80% of your time doing stuff you have no business doing. What do you care if maintenance guy X decides that they're going to go on PTO? He had no organizational structure. All 300 people reported directly to him. Time is finite.
Yeah.
And so we go into companies like that and help them put in the structure necessary.
Yeah. So you seem to love what you do.
Oh yeah.
Whatever got you involved in politics? It wouldn't have been your dad's influence.
No, as a matter of fact, that had the opposite effect.
Your father being Nelson Wolff, former Bexar County judge, former San Antonio mayor, city councilman.
That had the opposite effect. I grew up with this. I was 5 years old when Dad was first elected to office. He was 28 as a state rep and then 30 as a state senator. My playground was the state capitol, right? And certainly very proud of him growing up through that. But there's a good side and bad side to everything. And so I had decided very early on in my life, in my career, there was no way in hell I was ever running for office. And I went off, and I didn't even join the family businesses. I went, the corporate route, and as I said, lived in New York, before that Delaware, and then here in Texas. Came back home from New York.
The early aughts.
Yeah. I was, Sandy and Sydney and I, we were on the corporate track. We were living in New York. We were set to do, essentially, in a corporation of that size, you go do your overseas tour. We had our choice between Barcelona and London. We had already decided that we were going to go to Barcelona, spend another year in New York, and then go to Barcelona, do 3-4 years overseas, come back, you're 1 or 2 down in your particular field, and that's your career. Yep. I come home for, my wife says I'm supposed to say I came home for a friend's wedding. The reality is I came home for a friend's bachelor party. A lot more fun than the wedding. And this friend of mine started talking to me and saying, what are you doing? And I told him essentially what I just told you. And he said, well, my company's looking for someone. And next thing I know, I'm interviewing for the chief operations officer of a local title company here. They end up offering me the job. Our daughter had turned 5. We were looking for schools, and we said, hey, do we want to stay on this corporate roller coaster?
So you denied them a chance to live in Barcelona.
Did
I would
not.
be pissed.
I know. I'm still, I still lament that a little bit. We were really looking forward to it, but came home as the COO, and it was this was 2002, and it was like a number of months after we moved home, where we had 2 council people indicted and convicted.
Oh yeah,
for,
that's right. Yeah,
stupidness.
Yeah, Edgar's a mayor. It was a lot of turmoil.
Yes, and I think Sandy knew before I did, and she goes, you're going to do something, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. She goes, you're going to run for office, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I think so. She goes, damn, the Godfather promise. And I said, what do you mean? He said, you promised me the family would be legitimate in 5 years. And so, I ran.
Legit.
I ran my whole plan.
And you never really got legitimate. So.
No. My whole plan was to, because it was then limited to 2-year terms, was to go in and try to help clean up my hometown.
Which actually, I mean, that's the office you came into. Very different office from what it is today.
Oh, absolutely.
So, not only do we have actual pay because you were making what, $25? Yeah, was it $20?
Just a volunteer.
Right. Like it's not even shoe money.
Oh, trust me, it was the. I'm still surprised that my wife stayed married to me. It was the worst personal financial decision we had ever made in our life. I go from being the COO of a large company here to making $20 a week as a council person.
Yeah, because I mean, at the time, like the only way you could do it was as a retiree. Well, 3 ways. Like you married well.
Yeah.
You were a retiree, or you were a lawyer.
Yeah,
and it was usually the lawyer. So now you have.
Ironically,
8 years.
that's when I started my consulting company.
Oh.
I started it in 2005, so I could have something to supplement that income instead of living off of Sandy's private school teacher salary.
Right.
So.
That's tough. Any kind of teacher salary is not great.
Yeah, exactly.
So now it's 8 years, but not only that, you've got, instead of 2-year terms, 4-year terms. And as we learned last week, Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones is talking about moving the city election for city council and for mayor from May to November. I want to ask you about that, but first, Megan, give us kind of the skinny on what she's talking about and how she's talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this all came out, viewers, if you were not familiar, it happened right before Thanksgiving that this is happening. So I feel like
everybody is forgiven if you don't know anything about what we're talking about. Hence the background. So go ahead.
So the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, council members get this memo from Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones basically saying, hey, so some legislation that passed a few months ago over the summer basically opens the door for us to be able to move our elections from May of odd number years, which is what we have right now, to the November timeframe. And she was making the argument that, we should take this into consideration because it could save us. She was saying up to $1 million. It sounds like that's a number that she got from the city manager's office. It could kind of align us with other major cities because basically every other major city in Texas already has like a November election for their city council members. And it would be something that could potentially boost voter turnout is the argument. And so she said that when I chatted with her a little bit more about the idea that she had kind of gotten this on her radar when she saw that the city of Dallas just changed it in November. And they've been kind of fighting for this for quite a while now, largely because they wanted to improve their voter turnout. And so she really wanted to have the city kind of take it into consideration, largely for those kind of like financial and voter turnout benefits. And council members seem generally open to it. The council members I've been able to reach so far before the holiday on Wednesday, the ones that were kind enough to return a call the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, were pretty open to the idea. They like the potential benefits, but they're concerned about the deadline. There's a December 31st hard deadline to make this change. And they're like, I just don't feel great about rushing this.
Well, yeah.
With very little public input, basically.
Yeah. Also, so this would change city elections to November of odd numbered years, which means you avoid presidential elections and midterm elections. Now, like if the idea is to increase voter participation, like if that's your big motivator, is that going to work? Because really what you're talking about are elections with state constitutional amendments and maybe some school bonds, school tax increase elections, that kind of thing. What do you think of this proposal?
So I am of two minds on this. From a purely, fiscal conservative standpoint, yeah, I like the idea of consolidation, and because it costs a lot of money to hold an election.
So $1 million, that sounds right.
$1 million
Sounds
about
right.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so consolidating that financially makes sense. However, what you're also looking at is when you say increase voter turnout, I'd put a stronger definition on that. I don't know that you necessarily increase informed voter turnout. You increase the number. Okay, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is, I think, where the question really lies. Especially when you have a crowded ballot. All right, and so even if it's in an odd year,
you still got like 17 constitutional
exactly,
amendments.
and so that muddies the water. It's going to be more difficult for local to rise above that fray, so to speak, and inform their voters as to why they should be voting for them. So if the goal is gross number, great. Okay, but I don't know that that's the best goal in the world. And I think it also forces something you've seen, especially in this last election. It forces that more partisanship electorate that comes out. And so,
I mean, but you had a May City election, and you saw plenty of partisanship for a nonpartisan office, particularly in the mayor's.
I feel like a lot of people merge it in their heads.
It was the most partisan, municipal election I have seen in this town.
And I mean, was that simply a function of, hey, you've got 27 people on the ballot, and partisanship is just like the easiest way of sorting all of these candidates.
So, something that I stress, especially when I'm talking to folks that want to run for office, is I tell them there's two skill sets to doing this. There's the skill set of knowing how to run for office. Right? There's a science behind that, there's strategy behind that, etc. Then there's the skill set of actually doing the job should you get elected. Okay? They're two very different skill sets. Now, my personal opinion is, unfortunately, obviously, the vast number of people we elect have skill set number one. Very few seem to possess skill set number two. All right? And so, yes, Greg, the easiest way to get a decision from X voter is take it down and make it as simple as possible. And if you happen to be on the left and you happen to be on the right, and I say I'm on the right, then the likelihood that I get your vote is better than yours. Voila. Okay, and that's where I say skill set one. It becomes a numbers game of how can I get your attention? Okay, not necessarily informed. Okay, I'm just picking one thing.
Now, is it possible that we're kind of entering a time where even if it hadn't been 27 candidates in the mayor's race, that we're just in a more partisan age, and like it finally, with all of the polarization and kind of the tribalism at the national level, driven a lot by Donald Trump, I think. That it finally made it down to San Antonio.
It has, and it's something I personally lament because, as you guys know, local government, not only is it the level of government that affects your day-to-day life more than any other level of government, it is the issues, the doing the job, the second skill set, the issues are not partisan. There are not Republican and Democratic potholes. Okay? Everybody wants their potholes fixed, right? Everybody wants the police and fire to show up on time. Those things are not partisan in nature. Doing the job. But yes, to your point, it has become so polarized, starting at the national level and working its way down all the way to the local level now, where all of those things that are actually important at the local government level fade into something else, okay, and you're only judged on whether you're this way or that way. I call it the extremes are controlling the messaging, right? And that's happened across our country.
Right.
Well, that is definitely something. The partisan issue is something that Councilman from District 4, Edward Minguia, actually mentioned as one of his concerns. But the item that I think most of the council members, they all had kind of their own unique takes on what could be a concern here. But again, generally happy with the idea of saving money and the idea of increasing voter turnout. But they were all concerned universally, like across the board, about the idea of rushing this, trying to slam this through in the next 3 weeks when a lot of people are already kind of getting into holiday mode. It's going to be hard to reach people. I guess, what are your thoughts on, who maybe dropped the ball here? Why, this was something that passed a couple months back. Why are we even having to rush to the finish line on this?
We could have started back in the summer, right?
Yes.
So Megan, I think you bring up a really good point. I will call it a political issue within a political issue. There's the political issue of whether or not you should move this. Then there's the political issue of, okay, how much community involvement do you want in a decision process? Now, you've seen this play out a couple different times. You saw it play out with the arena vote and the mayor and others saying, hey, we want more time. We want more public input. We want this type of thing. Now, you're seeing just the opposite. You're seeing the mayor's side saying, no, we need to do this right now, okay, without public input. That's why I say it's a political issue within a political issue. Right. The argument you're going to see is about, is it good, bad, indifferent to make sure we get public input. Right. I mean, think about the conversation we're having today, the pros and cons of actually moving this. Okay? Those are the kind of conversations you'd want to have with the local public, the people that you're going to represent.
Allow me to be devil's advocate here. Okay. So I think there's a big difference between a decision to move an election from, 7 months, something like that, whatever, from May to November, and devoting hundreds of millions of dollars of tax dollars to building a Spurs arena. Those are two different things. And one maybe a little bit more involved and require just a little bit more public information. Am I missing something here?
No.
Okay.
And I'm actually glad you bring that up, and I'm going to harp on the political agenda within a political agenda. So, the safe thing for any elected to do, I don't care where you are on the spectrum, when you're unsure and you don't know which way to go, is to put it to the public.
Right. More time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whether that's putting out a public election that you need or don't need, whether that's getting their input before you decide on something, those types of things. So one of the things I've always felt very strongly about is that when you're elected to office, you're not elected to office to make easy decisions. You're elected to office to make hard decisions. Right. But in skill set one, you don't want to make hard decisions because you're going to anger somebody. All right. And, skill set one says, that won't get you reelected. Okay. So you hesitate. But that's not why I elected you. I elected you to make hard decisions. All right. And so to your point, yes, there are times when potentially contentious issues need to be done now. Okay, this one I think is relatively easy. Okay.
By the way, my point was maybe they should have had more time to talk about the Spurs arena.
No, see, I would disagree with that.
Right.
I think they had tons of time. This has been discussed for a couple of years, at least.
No. What happened in a couple of years was the Express News reporting on the very vague outline of this project.
True.
And the city manager and the Spurs not returning our phone calls or saying no comment. So that's not actually how it played out. Like, it was only in the last, before the election, it was only in the last few months before then that we got any kind of real information. But that's another. We could spend a whole episode talking about that.
I think that's fair, and that comes back to doing the job. You're sitting in the seat. You have things happening. They did a very poor job. They being the city and the county to a lesser extent, they did a very poor job of advertising their potential product. Okay. It got convoluted with a larger project of Marvel and different things, and it was not understandable.
Right.
Okay. And it didn't become more understandable until, as you just pointed out, those last 4 or 5 months leading up to the term sheet vote. So that's a fair statement.
Do you think if you've got council members now rushing to schedule town hall meetings to talk about the, moving the election, and we don't know. I assume there's going to be some of that. Would you anticipate just throngs of constituents just like busting down the door to get into those town halls to talk about moving the election?
No, they're not.
Right. I am curious about how much. We're heading into a holiday season, which anybody will tell you is death for politics. City Hall kind of slows down in large part because the public's attention just starts wandering, family to Christmas to Hanukkah, whatever. They're preoccupied. And I just don't know that they're going to care that much.
They're not.
It's
going to
maybe
be
I'm being cynical, but
it's maybe it's not nice to say it, not care. I think they would care if the attention factor was available. You heard me say something from a business standpoint. Well, time is finite. You can only spend so much time. Well, guess what? My time right now, my family's time right now is being sucked up by the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm paying attention to. And so to your point, Greg, no, it's not. You're not going to be able to get the attention of the electorate in this period of time to give you good input in regards to whether or not you should move the election cycle from May to November.
Yeah.
So is this even a fair time to be talking about this?
No, it's really not. Not if you truly want public input. All right. And again, I'm going back to my political issue within a political issue. Depending upon what side you're on, you might not want true input at this point.
Yeah.
All right. And so, you're between now and the end of the holidays. There's no rational way that I can think of to get an amount of public input that would be, good, that would give you actual information to help you make a decision on. It's just not possible.
Now, a few minutes ago, you were talking about the poetry of politics and the prose of politics.
Yeah.
Poetry being how you run for office. Prose, which is what Megan and I do, and we can tell you it sucks. It's hard. It's really hard. It's like governing.
Yeah.
How? And I think you might have been alluding to Mayor Jones, maybe just maybe
just a little.
What's your assessment so far?
So she
totally open ended. Like you answer it how you want.
She has struggled mightily, and it's unfortunate. Forget whether I as an individual agree or disagree with her politics. The fact is that she has not been able to bring a coalition together, bring council together. And that's really, in this type of government, in San Antonio's weak mayor form of government, that's really what the mayor's job is to figure out how to bring a diverse set of representatives from across the city together to do the best that they can do, what's going to have the most beneficial impact. More often than not, that means not everybody's going to be happy. Okay, everybody's going to be like, I don't like that, but okay. But that's really what I see as the number one job of whoever sits in the mayor's chair is to help herd the cats, so to speak. And she struggled with that. She came out of the gate alienating even those that from a political philosophy standpoint would be her natural allies. And she's still struggling with that.
Can you elaborate on which situations you're kind of talking about there?
You've got, how many different 10-to-1 votes. I think there's 4 now, at least 3. And
with her being the one vote,
yes, and I can't remember a mayor having a 10-to-1 vote. Which, and whether and some that were different, 7-3 votes. The term sheet, I believe, was 7-3.
Yeah, with her on the losing side. Yeah,
the 10-1 vote on the animal control piece. These are things that you weaken yourself as the mayor in that job that I mentioned earlier, and that's how do you bring this divergent group together? Right? How do you get them to work together?
Right. Now, this may be, I'm not sure how I feel about what underlies this question, but it is. Okay, could it be that just like we may be moving into a more partisan period where like it matters in a nonpartisan city race if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. Could it be that the mayor's office is changing in such a way that that coalition building matters less than making this larger point like the Instagrammable point. Is that where we're headed? Is that where we're at now?
You are bringing up what as a local citizen, as a citizen of San Antonio, what is one of my greatest fears is that yes, that we are allowing our local government to fall into the trap of being a voice for things, a political philosophy, one way or the other, okay, that has little to nothing to do with the job of local government, and that it's becoming more important that Party X is able to hold out a San Antonio or a Chicago or whatever as we're on this side, which again doesn't have anything to do with what local government's job, the pros is of the job.
Right.
So yeah, it's a huge fear of mine that it becomes more important to those elected that they be known as a good soldier for this or that, rather than a good elected in completing the pros.
Right. So you're an R.
Yeah.
Like your dad's a D.
Yeah.
So like something happened in the DNA. There was some kind of weird, I don't know. Something happened.
Yeah, it did.
Biologically.
It did.
But what do you make of Mayor Jones when she take the crosswalk situation? So Governor Greg Abbott and TxDOT, they say, okay, no messaging in our crosswalks, no art in our crosswalks. And what that means in San Antonio is no LGBTQ crosswalk on Main. So I think a lot of the mayor's supporters thought, okay, she's going to fight this.
Yeah.
And she says, you know what? I don't think, she had a great line about how my pride is not tied to this paint. Yeah. And this is not maybe worth losing a lot of money in TxDOT funding. Does that, as a Republican, that must hearten you, right? Or no?
Not so much as a Republican,
as
what I'll call, I guess they call it moderate. I call it rational.
Yeah.
And there are some that exist on both sides of the middle, right? I actually applaud that decision from that perspective, not necessarily a Republican decision. She was getting to the pros of the job,
right?
Okay, to actually doing the job. She knows or has learned that, hey, like it or not, a lot of the resources a city like San Antonio needs comes from the state. Well, the state is a Republican-controlled apparatus right now. And so do you poke that bear and risk it or not? And look what happened with Broadway.
Right.
Poked that bear like nobody's business, and Broadway
they said, you know what, we're just going to take
take it back.
Yeah, you're talking about the complete street plan for Lower Broadway.
Yes.
Had millions of dollars of bond financing, and the TxDOT and Abbott actually, not a fan. TxDOT kind of played along for years until Abbott
lowered the boom.
And then suddenly the state effectively took it back. It turns out Broadway was a state highway. And nobody knew. So they took it back.
No, I actually, like I said, I applaud the mayor for making that type of decision, because remember I said, you're elected to make hard decisions. That was a hard decision. She knew that she was going to anger a part of her constituency that had been her supporters. And I think she said it correctly. This is not how I show my pride. Okay, I don't need to use public right-of-way that is owned by everybody to stamp my mark. Okay, so she gave what I thought was a very good position from her perspective, but at the same time knew that she was having to deal with a state Republican-controlled funder and say, I'm not going to poke that bear because poking that bear means worse things for my citizens than whether or not I have this.
I mean, that display of pragmatism, like does that signal potentially good things?
It heartens me.
Yeah,
it really does. You know, I am hopeful that she can take that same sort of pragmatism and then bring it to building those interpersonal relationships with the rest of council. Otherwise, what we're going to have over the next 4 years is disruption galore.
Right.
Okay. You know, when you see 10-1 votes, that means others on that council have figured out the golden rule. If you can't count to 6, you can't get anything done. If you can't count to 6, you're just shouting at the rain. Okay. Yeah. You might sound good to some folks, but you're not doing anything. Yeah. And so you will see a continuing shift based on issues. Okay, well, these 6 want to go this way, or that 6. My point being, there's nobody herding the cats at that point. There's nobody building from the front. Yeah. They're just trying to hold on from the rear.
Okay. Now, before you go, I want to talk about the Bexar County judges race.
Damn, I thought you might ask that.
Yeah, so this is a weird situation for you, right?
It is very weird.
Okay, you are supporting former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg against Peter Sakai, who was your father's successor, elected in 2022 over Republican Trish DeBerry. Yeah. Now, why?
2 reasons. First, let me say this. Judge Sakai was probably, if not the best, certainly one of the best district judges this community has ever had. The things he was able to do, especially with children's court, et cetera, are just uncomparable and have been recognized at the national stage. Him transitioning from that judicial role into the county judge role, which is really a misnomer. It might be better to say county administrator or mayor of the county or something like that. It's a job that requires very proactive actions, whereas a judicial judge is a reactive position. I listen to 2 sides of an argument, I make a decision, reacting to that argument. It's a very different job. They have nothing to do with each other. And unfortunately, in my opinion, Judge Sakai has struggled with that transition, which has made things at the county run much less smoothly than they did before.
Do you have a couple of examples of ways that you think maybe speed bumps were hit here?
Sure. So we can use the Spurs arena as an example. Right. It appeared, and maybe so, Peter was caught off guard by that. The city did an end around, all right? Instead of kicking them back in the teeth, which I think the previous county judge probably would have done, demanding a level of...
Just so we're clear, we're talking about the city manager and the Spurs general counsel talking about kind of unbeknownst to the county judge, talking about building a downtown arena. And this is beginning of 2023.
Yes. Yeah. So think about this. Yeah. Okay. The county's number 1 tenant on a building the county owns is a team called the Spurs. Okay. Number 1 tenant in an area, it doesn't make the county money. You don't make money being in government. Okay. You just hope to pay for things, okay? Number 1 tenant, okay. Well, the city, your sister local organization, is now going to steal your number 1 tenant and build a competing arena less than 3 miles away from yours. Yeah. What does that do to the valuation of your arena? Right. So either Peter got blindsided by it.
So, I mean, I think anybody looking at it from the outside would say, okay, so he was just elected. He was just finding his feet in the Bexar County courthouse I assume you knew where all the restrooms were already. But like you say, being a county judge
it's a heck of a transition.
It is a totally different gig from a district court judge. So, like, why would we expect him to know, like, what every county tenant is up to when he's trying to figure out how to run county government?
Sure. So, unfortunately, that's the nature of the job.
Yeah.
You took the job. You got elected to the job. And this is what comes with it. You know, you said a word earlier that I'm very fond of. Did you not do the homework? Right? And using your words again, the pros of the job requires a lot of homework. And you really have to spend a lot of time, especially with staff who've been there, who know, the day-to-day workings, get them to teach you as quickly as possible what's important, what's not important.
Yeah.
And then don't hesitate to take action.
Yeah.
So if I had to fault Judge Sakai on something, is the hesitation. He wanted to hear the arguments. He wanted consensus built someplace, and then he would step out in front. Yeah. That I believe has hurt him. And you couple that with going back to skill set one, timing, like in a number of different life instances, can be everything. Timing is perfect for Ron. If this was a year later, it'd actually be different. But it's months after he was out of office, when he was replaced by someone who has struggled mightily. Okay, that makes his star go up. All right. His name recognition go up, his likability go up, because how many times have you seen in the past where, do you miss me now? Okay, kind of advertisements, those types of things. He gets to take advantage of that from that skill set one standpoint.
Now, I want to say that this is not having to do with your involvement in this podcast, but in the future we will have Nirenberg supporters on. I swear to God, like we're going to play fair, and I hope to have both candidates on before the March primary. Now, going back to Ron Nirenberg, I mean, I think a lot of his likability, which we've seen in UTSA polls, he had a high job approval rating. How much of that goes back to his handling of the pandemic?
Almost all of it.
Yeah. So this is like him being on television every night with Judge Wolff. Yeah.
Let me be a little
kind of a calming.
So Ron's the first couple years of his mayorship. Remember, he almost lost re-election. Okay. In my opinion,
against Greg Brockhouse,
yeah. In my opinion, COVID saved his political career. Okay. Now, what's important to stress is also how he handled that situation. Okay. Here was something nobody knew how to handle, nobody expected, those types of things. And to his credit, and some relative of mine's credit, they stepped up and led during a very difficult time.
Right.
Okay. They made the hard decisions. They stepped out there in front. Okay. And yes, I think that is what made Ron so endearing to the electorate today. I think that was his big stamp.
Yeah.
If you asked me, to step back objectively and say, okay, what really good things happened under his watch, I struggle.
Because I mean that's a very reactive thing. I mean, leadership. That's part of leadership, right? Like you're faced with a disaster and you step up. Yeah. Like there's something in you that that comes out.
Yep.
And that's what people remember. It's like this is a person who helped us through a very difficult time. But I mean, there's a lot to being a mayor.
That's right. Yeah.
And disaster, coping with the disaster and disaster recovery may be part of it, but it's not everything. And so Did that give you any pause as you thought about, okay, is this the guy, like,
Sure.
is this the guy I want to support against Peter Sakai?
Sure.
Like, well, I mean, because you said yourself, you're not, you kind of struggle with what he accomplished.
So what, and really this was, for me personally, the key decision factor as to, presented with these two candidates, which one would I go for? Ron's performance during that particular time shows me personally that, okay, I know he's got it in him. All right, I know, he'll step up.
Yep.
Okay. I have not seen that from Judge Sakai since he's been in office. I haven't seen him get in front and say, we're gonna do this, gonna do that. I like both individuals personally.
Yep.
If I had a bigger pool of potential candidates, might I be making a different decision? Sure. But the reality is I don't.
Right.
Okay. This election is all going to be about the Democratic primary. There's no Republican that I can see that would even make a dent. All right. Plus, if you're a Republican, it's going to be a tough cycle next November for you anyway. So yeah, these are the candidates I, as a voter, am presented with. And what really tipped me over the edge was Ron's performance during COVID.
Right.
But are you worried at all about like a learning curve here? Like you're then risking the fact that, okay, we're starting from scratch again. Here we go.
Not so much, because remember, I started at council as well and then moved over to commissioner's court. That helped me immensely understand how those two entities could work together more effectively. Same thing with Dad. He was mayor before he became county judge. So having that background is, I think, vitally important to taking, the two largest local governmental entities and having them work effectively together. So I don't think the learning curve is much less steep. And I have to say, I've been watching and listening, and I guess in some cases maybe teaching. Ron's doing his homework. He's figuring out, okay, how does this type of government really work? Because they're very different. City council is much more the legislative branch. They can pass ordinances, they can pass laws, whereas commissioner's court is really much more the executive branch. You're enforcing state laws. You're actually an extension. You're the implementation arm of state government.
Yeah. So to give Ron Nirenberg his due as mayor. So it wasn't all COVID. You did have, you passed an affordable housing bond, $150 million, and Ready to Work, which was definitely COVID infused. Sure. Now, what do you think of his Ready to Work program? This is the tax funded job training program that was going to train everybody. I don't remember what the numbers were offhand. They failed to hit those targets repeatedly. Yeah. How's that working?
So
that program.
So you see this happen often. You take a good idea, okay, and then have horrible implementation. All right. Usually you get this when you have two entities that are the drivers. Electeds and academics. Okay? When you delve into the realm of Ready to Work, okay, what you're talking about is essentially training people to get good jobs. Okay? Well, the folks that know more about that than anybody else are the people that actually hire.
Yeah.
All right? My wife has been in education forever. And she asks, she'll ask you the question, who is the customer of a college student? All right. And some people will say, well, a student, and some people will say the parent. And she'll tell you no every time. She'll tell you, no, it's the employer. Because if you're not producing a product today that some future employer wants, then you have failed. All right. So you got it was taking that concept and then putting it into reality. And what happens, especially in government, is it's almost like you figure out how to make it as bureaucratic and messy as possible and end up spending all your money on things that you never really expected to. I can see Ready to Work starting to make that turn and become more viable than it has been. But it was a good idea with horrible implementation, and that was under Ron's watch.
Yeah. Now, at Ron Nirenberg's kind of rally, his big campaign announcement, he talked about city-county consolidation and the judicial mindset. Am I missing something? Did he talk about much else? Because my point is, I'm not sure how exciting that is to voters. I mean, I'm not sure between watching paint dry and talking about city-county consolidation, I might, depending on the shade of color, the paint.
Yes.
That'll be a big determinant in my decision.
Yes.
What's the argument? What is Nirenberg's compelling argument for challenging a sitting, particularly a Democrat in a Democratic primary, sitting county judge?
Okay, so and you're actually seeing this at both the city and county level, with change at the top. What happens with the wheels and the cogs and the bureaucracy is it goes into what I call duck and cover mode. Okay, you're a longtime city staffer. You're doing X, Y, and Z. You know where this particular council is. You know where this particular commissioner's court is. They have set a direction, and you react accordingly. What you're seeing right now is a lack of direction at both of the governing bodies. What does that really mean? That means your machine, your apparatus of delivering the actual tactics and products of local government has either slowed down or in some cases stopped. Right? What happens then? All right, well, now you've got a whole bunch of the economy that is attached to the working of that machine. Right?
Yeah.
That's how you take the prose and turn it into more poetry. How you take that dysfunction and say, I'm here to fix that dysfunction. All right? Yeah. That's what Ron was saying. All right, but it's tough. It's tough taking the prose and turning it into.
It's kind of it starts out as kind of an abstraction for a lot of voters. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck making a campaign slogan or mailer out of that.
But I can tell you definitively there are a ton of opportunities. To where city-county consolidation, which has been talked about for years, okay, which, by the way, is very difficult to do in particular areas. But we did it back when I was on council. So part of Metro Health and the university hospital system, which is ultimately controlled by the county, were each vying for the same grants. They were fighting each other. Okay, and it was my council that essentially moved that portion of Metro Health over into UHS. That was a true tactical example of city-county consolidation, which was very beneficial to us. There are dozens of those. They all save money. They all become more efficient. So Ron's not wrong to talk about those things. The problem is, how do you turn them into poetry in an election cycle and make it make sense and do that in 15 seconds?
Okay? You got your work cut out for you.
You got it.
Now, last question. I'm going to ask you to explain your super aggressive green shirt. You've got knives. You've got a skull. And you've got a hand grenade. Did you feel that was really necessary to come on the podcast? Are you trying to send a message?
I have known
what was
you
the message?
I've known you for 20 some odd years. You've scared the hell out of me. Megan,
hey, buddy, if you were trying to keep me at bay, it worked. Okay?
I have to tell you a special story.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
So there was this reporter that was responsible for covering City Hall when I was first elected. And at my very first meeting, I was the only council member that didn't say anything. I just sat through the council and listened. And this reporter came up and asked me after the meeting, he goes, "Why didn't you say anything?" and my response to him is, I said, well, I didn't have anything to say, and maybe when I do say something, people like you will actually listen to me. So I've been scared of him since that point.
I was gonna say I think you're just not wanting to talk about the shirt.
Okay, this is a 511 shirt. It's my favorite store. I like it because they're snaps.
Snaps are good.
Yeah, snaps are good.
Down with snaps.
And this was, in all honesty, my daughter's favorite holiday is Halloween, and so
that's awesome.
She got me this.
That's so sweet.
Went from super violent to super sweet. Oh my God, that's so nice.
I'm a politician, dude.
Yeah, right. Okay. We'll end it there. Thank you very much. You spent an hour, almost an hour. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot. We'll have you back on sometime soon. Thank you for joining us. If you've not signed up for the ENside Politics newsletter, again, I don't really know what to say. I've been talking about this for a year and a half now, but if you haven't and you're interested, drop down to show notes, click on the link, and sign up. And we will see you next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.